I bear witness there's no one worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last and final messenger. We send our blessings and salutations upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we also thank the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala wa ajma'een for their hard work and the efforts they put for this religion. So inshallah today, the little time I have, I want to actually talk about something which is very important. A lot of you have been talking about this issue. A lot of you have been thinking about the Third World War. Is it going to erupt, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen? So I get many questions. So I thought you guys are thinking about that so deeply. So I'll invest some time and I'll give you something, 2 cents of my own, what I feel and what we should do as Muslims. But I will not really be talking about the war as people speak, because this is not the place to do that. Khutbahs are not supposed to be political. Khutbahs are supposed to be where we stand up and we remind people and we make them understand what Islamic rulings are. Khutbahs are places where we speak about current affairs. Khutbah is a place where we educate our community, young ones like you, so that you know. Now initially, when you look at what's happening around the world, what's the narrative? The narrative's quite simple. When you look at Muslims, what do Muslims say? What does Quran say? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, مَنْ قَتَلَ نَفْسًا بِغَيْرِ نَفْسٍ أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحيا فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly is saying, whoever takes life, whoever kills and spreads corruption on the earth, as if only one person, if he did that, killed one person or spread the corruption, as if he killed the entire humanity. On the other hand, if someone just saved one life, and he did that for the sake of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write for him as if he saved the entire humanity. We understand what's happening. We're not going to be shying away. We make dua for the ones who are being oppressed. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Unsur akhaka aw dhalimun mazlumun aw dhalim," that help your brothers, the ones who are oppressed and the one who is oppressor. So now the Sahaba asked, we understand how does we do help an oppressed one. We help them, we know that. But how do we help an oppressor? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, an oppressor is helped by stopping him. And that's what we do. We speak about the people who are being oppressed and also the people who are the oppressors. So that's what we do from here. But you know, subhanAllah, we also want to, and this is what my khutbah is all about. My khutbah is about the blatant hypocrisy and the double standards of people towards the Muslims. Towards the people, if we don't have white skin, if we don't have blonde hair, and if we don't have blue eyes, then we're not treated the way those people are treated. You know, so really, I want to tell you, all of you, you know, you guys, I know you love football, you have a team that you support, you all go for these teams. SubhanAllah, just last year we read in this masjid, qunut after qunut. We were doing in the salah, qunut al-nazzala. We were calling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us, our displaced brothers, the brothers who have been suffering for 70 years. We made dua for them. We've been asking Allah to give them that victory, we give them that freedom. And we did that. And also, the great footballers did that. You know, they went and they wore their shirts and they, you know, promoted the agenda. What did FIFA say? You know, FIFA said, sport and games are different from politics. So don't bring politics when you come and play. So they shunned that. But now, subhanAllah, all of a sudden the FIFA narrative changed as well. So if you're wearing a Ukrainian flag and you wave that, then you are doing the right thing, because FIFA just said, you know, people that stand up against the injustice are great people. And FIFA actually came out and applauded these people, the ones who are standing against injustice and wearing these Ukrainian flags. And that's the injustice that we see. Last year, actually not last year, the year before, you know, Masoud Ozil, he spoke about the Uyghur Muslims, how they were suffering. But as we know, our friends from this country has a lot of memberships in live telecast of the football rights and you name it. So he was threatened. Why? Because he said something he shouldn't have said. And he shouldn't have spoken about the Chinese Muslims who were dying. So he was reprimanded. You know what? Associations taken away. Sponsors taken away. End of the day, the team also shunned him, and he got not to play even a single game after that. And he left the club on the bench. A man who was such a great player left the club on the bench, didn't even get a minute to play in the field. And that's what, these are the double standards that we call out. We're not saying, we're not taking anything away from the ones who are oppressed. But as Muslims, you should open your eyes. You're the leaders to come. You should know these double standards. When you do show your support for one country, it's taken in a very different way. But when you show your support for the people with the blue eyes, and the blonde hair and the white skin, wallahi, I'm not racist, but I have to say it the way how the people are saying it on the media. I want people to know this. This is what the media is saying. And I always am scared of defamation. So I've got all the quotes over here. That's why my khutbah is so big, because I have to narrate all these things. And I have to tell you the truth, inshallah. I want to start off and I want to tell you something. I want to start with something that you guys don't know. One of the greatest pastors in Arizona, in America, and he's very, very famous. He's passed away now. His name was Danny Patton. Danny Patton started a movement called Silver Ring in 90s. And that Silver Ring was to stop young, adults to go into illicit relationships. He said, the Bible says that young people, they should start a family, they should get married, and this is the way of the Bible. And subhanAllah, as a Muslim, we say the same as well. And he started this movement, and he got applauded by the government. And in Arizona, he had funding splashed on him. And he would have ceremonies where young people would come and they would wear the rings. And they would only take those rings off when they got married. He even went to France and he was looked after in France. But now can you imagine if a Muslim did that? They'd say the Arabs are backward, the Muslims are backward, and they're promoting these ideologies to our young ones, and they're not letting them live their lives according to themselves. This is the double standard, and this is what I'm telling you. You guys should need to know about these double standards. Now, close to home, we've got some students from Iran as well. In 2009, the Iranian, media woke up to the death of Neda Sultani as a very famous case. Obama was shedding tears on the death of Neda Sultani. Why? Because she was killed by someone over there. Same year, only a month away, a Muslim lady from Egypt, Marwa al-Shirbani, who was murdered in German's court while she was fighting her right for wearing the hijab, where a man abused her and called her a terrorist. That man killed Marwa in front of the judge in Germany, in this great countries that we all want to migrate, killed her in front of the judge. And what happened? No media reported it. Obama did not shed any tears on that. Obama was not upset. Only why is that? When someone with a brown skin or an olive skin or someone who's got a Muslim name does something wrong, and he's the one who makes the first page of Daily Telegraph, but someone with the blue eyes and the white skin never makes it anywhere. We're not saying that this is always the case, but subhanAllah, this is the case that we see today. These are the double standards that we're seeing, and this is a rhetoric that's being imposed on us. And that's why, as you young people, you need to know this. You need to be standing up and you need to be knowing this. And I want to give you something. I don't like to speak without facts, and I want to give you some facts, inshallah. One of the greatest reporters from Telegraph, UK, mashallah, UK is always there. The British, wherever they went, subhanallah, the joke comes to mind. India is still asking for the diamond they took, and apparently that diamond sticks in the crown of the Queen, so it's very insulting for UK to return that. So, you know, the list is really long. But the Telegraph great reporter Daniel Hannan, he says this: they seem so much like us. That is what makes it so shocking. War is no longer something visited upon other populations. It cannot be like this. It cannot happen to us. This is who? This is Daniel Hannan. He's saying, you know, these people are like us. How can they go through the same emotions? And then you've got another reporter, Charlie, and later on he apologized. Again, he's a senior correspondent of CBS. He says, this isn't a place, with all respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen the conflict raging for decades. This is relatively civilized, relatively European. I have to choose those words carefully. A city where you wouldn't expect or hope that this will ever happen. MashaAllah, they're telling us that we are barbarians. The people that live in Afghanistan are some kind of barbarians. They don't eat food like they eat. They don't breathe like the people in Europe breathe. And subhanAllah, it comes down to the narrative of people. Even the Bulgarian Prime Minister, this is no one else, he says, Ukrainian refugees are intelligent, they're educated. This is not a refugee wave that we've been used to from the Arab lands. People with unclear past who had always been known as terrorists. Not my words. And if you want to know this Prime Minister, that's the Bulgarian Prime Minister. SubhanAllah, you want to know the people that come from Egypt. You want to know this. They were the ones who had free education. They were the ones who had the best education system in the world. They were the ones who came, educated people all over Middle East. You want to know the people of Iraq. Iraq had the best GDP. The best GDP that was marveled by the European countries. And that's not, you're thinking maybe 100 years ago. No, this is in the time only 30 or 40 years ago. People went to Iraq to become doctors, to become engineers. And subhanAllah, this is the narrative. As a Muslim, you should know this. You know, we're not calling anyone out. Don't take me in a wrong way. It's a disclaimer out there. My heart goes out for the people who are suffering in Ukraine. But at the same time, my heart goes out for the people who have suffered for 40 years, for 70 years, for 20 years, and have been suffering till today. Who's going to speak about the suffering of the Chinese Muslims? Who's going to speak about, you know, you got so many Palestinians that sit in the crowd over here. Who's going to speak about them? Their land's been annexed, taken away from them. 70 years. The man does not even know. I got friends who are Palestinians. They don't even know where their grandfathers lived. They bulldozed those houses. You know, you got people that sit in the crowd from Kashmir. Who's going to listen to their plight? You got people from Rohingya that sit in the crowd. And who's going to listen to their pride? Where's the standards of the Europe there? They're humans as well. They breathe as well. It's just that we've got brown skin and black eyes, or brown eyes and black hair, and that we don't have enough standing in the community. And you know, you want to know the disparities of the West. This is something unheard of. This is UK's Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Magic Johnson, and he says that Ukrainians can enter in UK, and the number he says is 600,000 visas are open. Even if they don't have passports, they'll be welcomed. Now, you want to know how many Afghan refugees he took in the last 21 years? 15,000 only. You want to know how many people he took from Iraq? Over 25,000. And UK's army was the forefront who went to these countries and annihilated them. Now, he's happy to take 600,000. And you know, I always love our own Prime Minister, ScoMo. My always love for him. And I am an Australian. You know, we sing that. I sing that. I am, you are, we are Australians. And you know, there is, our Prime Minister said, and mashallah, he's always denouncing China, and he's offered Russia the lifeline by saying that China is offering Russia the lifeline. And it's like, you know, I want to give you an example. This is like I'm telling my daughter, who's 6 years old, and I'm telling her, you can't sit in the front seat. You know what, ScoMo, with all due respect, Russia does not really care about you. With all due respect, that's my respect to our Prime Minister. He really doesn't care about you. And I want to say this, and I don't want to be, taken in a negative way, but this is how we have to call out people. We need to understand that what has been happening to us, how can we change these narratives? That you people, myself included, we all have to stand up. We have to stand up for our people. We stand up for humanity. We just don't stand up for the people that look like us, the people that believe in my religion or your religion. We stand up for everyone in the humanity. This is what the Prophet said. The Prophet said that help the oppressed and the oppressor. And that's what we have to do. You know, the humanitarian aid that was given to Afghanistan in the last 20 years by our country, our honorable country, is 200 million in the last 21 years. The humanitarian aid that is given to just Ukraine in the war, which has only started 10 days ago, is 105 million. Now you do the math yourself. Isn't that hypocrisy? When it comes to people who are not like you, and when you are the ones who went to their country. And you know, I want to tell you this as well, that with people, you've seen yourself in BBC. This is on BBC, it's a mainstream media. BBC is showing these clips of people, they're going to the Ukrainian embassy and they're asking how can they go and fight in Ukraine. And they're asking, and you know, Liz Truss, who's the foreign minister of UK, says, I'll be supporting everyone that goes to fight. I'll be supporting everyone. And subhanAllah, can you just fathom this? If you imagine, if you, any one of you, or our family members, or anyone that decided to go help our own countries, what would happen? Just imagine that. And that's why, you know, we call out to people and we call out these double standards. We're not people that are always ranting and raging. We are people that want to call out and want to tell people, look, this is Islam. We are with you in everything. We are not those people who will stand back. We love this country. This is my country, but also have the same narrative for us as well. SubhanAllah, our Prime Minister has got so many harsh words for Russia to say, but when it really came to the oppressor, the Zionist, when they were taking on Palestine, and this is our own Prime Minister, his own words, just paraphrasing, he said, Israel's got every right to defend themselves. Defend themselves from what? Stones? Pencils? Sharpeners? SubhanAllah, it comes down to that. That how can we really, and this is, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran as well, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَهُوَ خَادِعُهُم. The hypocrites try to deceive God, but they're deceiving themselves. No matter how much they say, whatever they say, the hypocrisy, you know, the list is endless. And we can just stand over here and talk. The list is endless. But subhanAllah, I want to conclude and I want to say this. And this is something, you know, as children, grow up, you're growing up. Stand up for your rights. No one's going to stand for your rights. Know your rights. You know, in this country, we're not telling that we're extremists and we'll go and we follow that narrative or this narrative. We're Muslims. We do this in i'tidal. We're the ones who are there to find the middle ground. And the middle ground is when something happens, if the double standards happen, we call them out. We call them out. We're not quiet. We say that this is happening. It's our job. You know, subhanAllah, and the heart burns when mainstream media, when they show these clips and they say, there was a man that went from UK that was fighting in Ukraine against Russia and he died. He blew himself up, he died. And then the media reported, what a great martyr. Now I just want you to imagine if that happened to our countries where they came and they took our lands off, and when we stand up, what happens if we die in that cause? I just want you to imagine that. When it comes to someone else, there's a martyr. But if you're defending your own right, your own country, then who are you then? And you know, a lot can be said, as I said, but this is sheer hypocrisy. And we have to become the voice of conscience. And we have to become the voice where we educate people. And also, having said that, it's not our job as well to indulge into this. You know, we're Muslims. We need to know, we need to call out, we need to move on. We need to work on our iman. And with the Ramadan, which is very, very close to us, you know, don't spend more time on these things. Know your rights and know how to raise up for your rights. Don't be like those people who are indulged in everything else which does not make any effect to your life. Ramadan's coming, now's the time to prepare yourself and do as much as you can. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفر الله إنه الغفور الرحيم.